Hello there people, this is a Skolldir match, so you may see a lot of throws here, but in a good way. Let me run you through the upgrades I have picked for this particular match, as this was recorded back when you could only pick 3 of each category of things to bring with you to a match. Blindly, let's remind you, blindly, because you had no idea what sort of map you were heading for, nor what sort of enemies you would face there. The only saving grace is that you can see the heroes your team has picked so far, which was of no help to me in the slightest because I was the first one to join my team and therefore the first one to pick. I picked everything absolutely blindly, no information provided to me whatsoever. Here are the talents, the upgrades, the items that I have picked, whatever you want to call them. For my first ability, for throw, I've picked a range increase, meaning that I will throw my opponents further away from myself. I have picked a cooldown reduction, and I will gain a burst of movement speed on throw as my third item, when I get it of course. For Earthquake, I've picked Snow on the enemies hit by it, a damage increase and a height increase. For my basic attack, I've picked the big damage upgrade, the small damage upgrade, and an increase in range. Notably, this is a questionable upgrade to get, because instead of the range you could possibly get a stun on each third basic attack as you combo them. Closing off the list of items I have taken with me into the shop in this particular match is the big health upgrade, the small health upgrade, and the movement speed, commonly known as boots. Let me remind you, these are not some masteries, these are not some runes, these are not the things you get right off the bat. These are not things you automatically receive once you enter the match and thus pick them before the match. No, these are things you can buy within the match with in-game currency of solo. Let me also briefly touch on team compositions. I'm on the red team against the blue team, 3 players on each team. I am playing a Skolldir, a brawler. We also have a Raylan on my side, she's a sniper, and a Clunk bot. Clunk is the tankiest of tanks, but unfortunately he is not controlled by a player yet. The enemy team, the blue team, has a Clunk non-bot called Zuton, although he doesn't play all too well, and I've had my doubts when watching this match whether he was a bot or not. Rest assured, he wasn't. They also have a healer in Voltar and No, a specialist of sorts. A siege specialist. He can leave his weedlings to protect certain positions and can zone people as well with his damage over time applying puddles of buff. The team is trying to get away with a cheeky little push here in bottom lane. I will have none of that. I punch Volta to death and leave with almost all of my health intact. He was trying to get away, but was not gonna succeed. Even though I've engaged 1 vs 2, isolating the healer and taking him out was probably the right thing to do. I will now use the health packs, graciously provided by map designers in these particular locations. They're neutral packs, by the way, they can be picked up by either team. Although the enemy team, of course, cannot get through there without coming out to it first. I scale No away. Locking down the middle area as him is an amazing move. It's crucial as far as this map is concerned. There is this tiny bit of what you might commonly refer to as brush. Once you get in there, you are no longer visible from the side. There is a platform though, where No's little weedlings can be planted, his tiny little turrets. As long as you put enough of them there, you basically have the area locked down, and it requires a huge concerted effort from the enemy team to clear them off, to have any hope of fighting in that particular location. As you might imagine, trying to fight over there with No's weedling support for the blue team could have potentially ended in a disaster for us, red team. This, however, is not that level of play. Not quite yet, not quite so. And as such, No has not been able to lock the position down. Thus, we have free reign over here. Can move in and out at our leisure. No has located his weedlings in the top right part of the map, where little creeps spawn that give you health when they die. When weedlings get the kill, the health and the solo gain transfers to No. In that way, he can remotely heal every once in a while when the creeps spawn and die to the weedlings. It's a neat little trick that apparently he has learned. Let me remind you, the red Clunk is still a bot. Spot that has executed a fairly nice offensive maneuver. He has, however, also gotten stuck on the droids and might just not get away in time. Might just not gauge the situation properly. He also kept walking over Null's puddles, which apply dots every time you cross them. Not necessarily the smartest of moves, but that's what we have to rely on. We have been pushed into quite a defensive stance. It's time to take the initiative back from the enemy team. It's time to push them off. Or rather, pull them in. I've got grab, of which I will make frequent use. Considering that there's no mana in this game, you only operate on cooldowns. Having botched the body block a tiny bit, I tried to approach from the right and block Clunk. I did not expect Volta to still be there, but I appreciate the offer nonetheless and take him out alongside his friend the tank. Of course, standing on the button activates the worm, making the area below inaccessible, or rather, making it into a death trap, so he couldn't have gone through there. Going up would have meant going through me, and going to the left would have meant going through Raylan. There was just no escaping us. As quite often tends to be the case on a very basic level, mobile games are about positioning, about numbers, and about how those numbers are spread out in space. You want to have nice, neat little formations that you can put your team in, and you want to ambush and surprise the enemies. Tossing Volta to the side and taking him out, thus depriving the enemy team of a healer? I think that was a good move. I think that's also what they call peeling nowadays. The killing spree music blaring in the background marks me getting 3 kills without a single death. I think I'm doing fairly well, especially for playing with a bot. The other player on my team, of course, is the Rail, and she keeps going down there and trying to snipe out, which isn't really doing anything for us. Yes, that's a very nice sneaky little spot you've found, but you don't have the line of fire to actually shoot at them, so please, Raylan, don't. Unfortunately, as you can see, the enemy team has once again pushed us back. Let me quickly turn that around as I toss Clank into the turret, body block him, and punch him to death. I'm not necessarily doing all that well on all fronts. There's one area in which I am quite visibly and quite severely deficient, and that is health, or more specifically health regen. If I am to be a brawler, I need to be able to sustain myself within each given fight. I do, however, frequently need to go back, because even when I deplete Clunk's health bar, which is quite impressive in its own right, I am usually low on health myself. I don't have any way of regenerating said health because I don't have any items that provide this for me. I have not taken any such items with me into the Smash, so I only have myself to blame, I guess. I might just have to rely on pure raw damage and possibly on killing creeps and going back and collecting metapacks, as I have been doing so far. I've just tossed Clunk into a jump pad. It didn't necessarily hurt me in the end, so it wasn't a bad move, it simply wasn't a good move either, now was it? I am stranded away from my team. The enemies are barreling down on me. All together as 3. Null has copious amounts of what is arguably the biggest threat to me. Damage over time. His puddles apply poison, and I just can't deal with that. I cannot out-heal it. Furthermore, I cannot regen it at all. It chips away at my health incessantly. It will keep eating away at it till there's nothing left and I am dead. That's why I do need to be extremely careful. Even more so because in this particular game, if you take any damage, your channeling is disrupted on beaming back to base. Damage over time, as you probably know, deals bits and pieces of damage to you every so often. The frequency, however, is high enough to disrupt your retreat every time. That basically means that as long as you remain poisoned, you will not be going back to your base. Unless, of course, you get the old-fashioned way on foot. I'm trying to tank here in this fight, I'm trying to take Zutan out. And as unbelievable as this may seem to you, he will live! He will get away! My attention drifts away from him, and moves on to Gnaw. I try to block his path of escape. He chooses to commit suicide rather than face my fists. I'll collect as much solar as I can plunder from his corpse. Once I'm done, it's back to business as usual. We try to unpush the lanes, or rather, push them even further on any front available. It's not much of a concerted effort. I keep tossing bots left and right, I keep killing them. Just to push the towers as much as I possibly can, just to collect as much solar as I can get from them. Once again, you can catch a good long glimpse into my alien experience as far as mobile games are concerned. I am not necessarily assisting my team in taking down the bottom turret. They will destroy it on their own. Being more generous in the assessment, perhaps we could argue that I was performing a split push trying to get at the top turret, but that has not really gone anywhere now, has it? In a bit of a saving grace, I do notice the enemy team on the minimap, avoid the bite, toss Clunk aside and try to punch Gnaw to death, or at the very least, try to separate them from our turrets, try to fend them off. Since I have a decent bit of solar, I might as well invest it into another item. The oily spray on bronze catches my eye. It's quite an interesting one. After a throw, you gain a movement speed bonus. This might not sound like much, but once you throw someone behind yourself, you can then close the distance yet again very quickly, allowing you to reapply even more pressure in terms of raw basic attack damage. Once again, let's observe it on Clunk. I toss him, close the distance, punch, punch, punch. Almost off cooldown, toss him again towards the turret. I could have closed the distance, but I was so low on health, especially in comparison to his ball, that further conflict was ill-advised, seemingly. However, he wasn't smart enough or quick enough to get away. Thus, I have prevailed. Look at the silly little Gnaw. I can toss him back, so as not to allow him to get away. Doesn't mean I will succeed in pulling off the move, but I'm just telling you, I could have pulled it off. He almost got away, and he could have easily gotten away. He decided to jump back down and re-engage. I did not deserve that second chance, but you know what? I sure as hell took it. Obviously, upgrades help. I've already bought the big basic attack upgrade. Now I'm buying the smaller ones. I probably don't really need them all that much. Perhaps I could have invested in my second ability, Earthquake, but that didn't seem necessary. Instead of shoring up any deficiencies, instead of plugging any holes, I've decided to invest in what I'm already strong in. Attack damage. I could have bought more health. Might have been a good call. Could have allowed me to stay longer in fights. Sustain myself. But why not simply kill the enemies faster? Then you will lose less health, right? That Gnaw just appeared from nowhere and presented his ass in the time rift, ready for me to kick it. 9 kill streak, making me legendary, as far as this game is concerned. There's Volta on the other side of this turret, but if I hug it tightly enough, I can grasp him, toss him to the other side, eradicate him. Now there's no one to oppose us. It's a rookie mistake, by the way. You can be thrown from a given distance, and even if you are far enough to not be hit by projectiles, you may still be at risk. You may think you're safe, but you're not. I tried to body block for Raylan because it just seems like the right thing to do in these circumstances. She's low on health. I killed the tank. He rage quits. At this point, for whatever reason, I decided instead of ending the game, I should get my upgrades. Clearly, lower cooldown on throw, the second ability, more basic attack damage, all of that unnecessary. Raiden also left, but Clunk, good old Clunkbot was there. Goodbye and you'll see me next time.